So your stance is control. Even though you're not touching the man, you must learn how to control him through your body language and through your motion. Motion is also created through, and power is also created through timing, rhythm and timing. Yeah. Rhythm and timing. By moving my body and with rhythm and watching for the timing, I may wait 3 steps and then hit 3 steps, 2 steps, boom, boom, whatever. Rhythm and timing creates movement, which in order helps to enhance your techniques. What is called hard blocking. Hard blocking will take the weapon and it will take it out from the center line of the body. It is a hard block, it's with a hard step, and boom, comes past the center point of the body and takes the weapon outside in order to create a way to attack the body. With Sombo, it's a little different. We want to evade. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get that full block because you may not be expecting it, or the person may be bigger than you or stronger than you. So we compensate. What we need to do is take the body out of the way. We need to take the target away. If Andy throws a straight punch, this is your traditional block here. I keep my ground. Our center lines are here. Nose and navel are your center line. Nose and navel. Right here. So I will take the hard block, boom. The way we want to do this is taking the body out of the way. Boom. Boom. I'm stepping to a 45 or maybe even a 90. If you step to a 90, you're going to have a hard time coming in. Preferably, you want to step to a 45. Boom. So that you crowd the body. It's easier to throw from here. It's not easy to throw from here. Unless you're a very strong person and you really can't do it anyway. So I want to step in. I want to smother him. I want to get him off balance. After I do that, boom. I can knee, elbow. These are where my short range attacks are going to come in. Let's create a line here. Again, the strike is coming here. I want to step out, semicircle out. Here's our stance. Boom. Notice the line that my shoulders create. Here, here. You must take the target away from the weapon, not take the weapon away from the target. Okay.
Similar to what Ron's saying, 2 ways you can evade. You can have a passive evasion, or you can have a more aggressive evasion, which was Ron referred to as entering on a 45. In my line, I'm going to use this tape line right down the center of the mat. In here, I can take the same type of evasion just by turning out. If someone's throwing a dead center punch right here, watch the line of the tape. I'm standing right over the line. And I'm going to take the same thing on a 45. Notice my stance stays the same. If I go to the other oblique, out here, both hands, notice this trail leg. That is not just staying there for general purpose. It's part of your stance, it's also a strike. This is more the aggressive. You can retreat, move around, same thing, advance. Boom, in. I want to bar Ron, you'll see the same idea. I'm going to have Ron attack, so you're going to look at his back. Same thing, I'm outside. I made it aggressive defense on a 45. Remember my stance. Same thing. Right? Notice my stance again. My stance here. When I pivot, boom, I stepped outside, I slid. Rear heel comes up. Watch the pivot. Rear heel comes up. It is a stance, nose navel. Again, alignment. Person over here, there's your hook, there's your short range technique. Just that little pivot comes into play. And I'm going to real quick digress. Boom. as you come up. You can hit the ground and come up fighting. You're in that stance, you went from here, there it is. It's a little bit wider because you stood up on the ground. Same idea. But you're taking the aggressive. Boom. Entering on the 45, powerful. One of the reasons why this toe is down at your 50-50. You must be able to sprint anytime you want. Now I'm a slow white man, but boom. Okay, I shouldn't have said white man. So remember, anytime you should be able to sprint on that dime. Boom, real quick. So you're almost lunging in, full body motion. Thank you. No.
Yes.
Okay, basically in combat Sombo, it's combat. They give it is a given fact that the two men are going to go against each other, two people are going to fight, it's going to be one person victorious. Given that, they don't necessarily discuss range. They're not going to discuss range from out here as a whole way of fighting. So in Sombo, we're going to discuss range as suggestions for different types of techniques to close distance. A technique which has a longer distance that it can be thrown versus a technique that has a shorter distance. When can you start to, quote, officially grapple? What is grappling? These are questions we're going to try to answer. But knowing that when combat happens, in order for it to be combat, we're going to be touching each other. Or I'm going to have a weapon, or he's going to have a weapon. That's going to be the situation. So we're going to start off with, again, quote, ranges. Out here we're going to call long range. One simple reason, we're just basically feeling each other out. We enter, we see that we got to do battle, we're figuring out, okay, how am I going to do this? Suggested attacks from this range are going to be your hopping, jumping, turning, or step 2 type techniques. Hopping. Turning. What's that? Jumping.
Cut that for a second.
Okay, so we covered long range. We're going to hit medium range. That's when we're at this distance, where we're no longer having to hop, but we're at this distance here where we're like, checking out. You'll usually see boxers from this range. He did the perfect thing. From that range, he knows he's not going to be able to reach me with a front foot or a front hand. Throw either of them out. Not going to do it. I throw my rear foot at, I can reach him. Rear hand, not going to reach. Still at medium range, because you're still limited to some types of attacks. Now we close the distance from arms outstretched to where you put your arm on the person's shoulder. And basically, you have all your different longer types of strikes. You have all your kicks. From this distance, you can do stomp kicks. You can do thrust kicks. Look at different types of techniques. Also, from here, you can very quickly close in. This is where, from this range, actually, let me start out here. This is where grappling actually begins. Because the moment I can put a foot on him and touch him, grappling began. When I'm out here long range, when I entered his area, it became grappling. Because he can hold me, he can attempt to control, grappling. Attempt to submit, attempt to neutralize, grappling. Once I get to the position where he can actually grab or touch me, it's grappling stage. Back to the ranges. We went from short, going to go into close. Basically, you're in collar. That's all your heads, knees, stomps, elbows. And I don't have a name for this one, but someone will name it someday. Basically, you're right on top of them, and almost like wrestling. You're in here. You're in close. You're pinching, you're grabbing, you're squeezing, you're stomping, you're raking. I don't have a name for that range, but in all practicality, you see the 5 distances that you can actually do battle from. And grappling, we're defining here in a quick way as any time you can grab, make an attempt to seize control of, submit, neutralize an object from the other person. If it's a weapon, it's grappling the moment you can grab that weapon. Okay?
The purpose of range is, when you enter combat, 2 or more people will enter a space, and that space is shared by each of those bodies in the room. What that person does, or what that body does with the space in between those people, is what is important in range. Whether our space is here, or our space is here. So, certain things have to happen in order to close this space or open it. In order to close the space here and possibly open a space to a third attacker or possibly someone who you are helping to defend with.